Today I went to a yarn shop in Victoria. It's called Beehive. Saw this bad boy just sitting on the shelf waiting to be purchased. I'm super excited. You can kind of see just all the colors that are in there. It's just gorgeous. It's Noro yarn. It's a Japanese yarn. It's 400 meters. So I'm hoping I can make a baby surprise jacket with a hood. Can't wait. So I'm gonna make a little swatch and see how this bad boy knits up. Last night I finished my swatch for my BSJ and I just did a bunch of calculations to figure out how big I'd want the final jacket to be so that it's between a size 1 and a size 2. So I'm pretty excited with how the yarn knit up. I really love the colors. Right now it's only really the blues and the oranges and a little bit of the purples, but it looks awesome. And yeah, I'm excited to actually start knitting. I spent the last few days at my parents' cabin just knitting away and made some good progress. I really couldn't put it down. I ended up knitting on the ferry all the way back home. Before starting a knitting project, I normally like to try to do a little reconnaissance, try to understand the entire pattern, try to learn any new skills I need. For this one, I ended up finding the Ravelry wiki page on the baby surprise jacket. It is so helpful. Totally recommend checking that out. L2 Belt has this video series on YouTube about knitting the baby surprise jacket, which was also really helpful. The baby surprise jacket is a really popular pattern. It has like about 30,000 projects on Ravelry, and it was written by Elizabeth Zimmermann. One of the things I think that makes it so popular, the fact that it's all knit in one piece. So you have this weird shape fabric that you'd never think could become a jacket, and then you fold it in certain ways, and all of a sudden you have this cute little baby jacket. Because the pattern is so genius, I was unable to visualize it. I couldn't figure out how the increases and decreases actually formed the jacket. So what I did was I made this little paper version of a jacket just so that I could understand kind of how the whole thing fit together. And I was only able to find the pattern in her book. I couldn't find it online for download anywhere. So I did end up buying her book just for the pattern because that's how badly I wanted to knit it. So I think she's a kind of a classic in the knitting world, and her sense of humor, her books are very conversational. Totally recommend the book. I think it's worth it for the pattern. When reading the wiki, I realized that you can actually extend the sleeve. So that's what I decided to do. So I ended up knitting each sleeve extension, and then while I was still at the cabin, I was able to do some of the decreases. Progress is being made. I finished the decreases and which form the sleeves, and I'm now working on the increases, which add length to the body. I did make the increases a bit too tight, which is too bad. I used make one right, make one left, which caused a slight indent in the fabric. In the future, I would definitely recommend using a looser increase. For me, it's pretty imperceptible, the difference, and I'm pretty sure the baby is not going to be able to tell the difference. You're always way more critical of your own work than other people are. So I'm just going to move forward with it, keep on going, and yeah, now I just need to kind of add the length to the jacket. A bit of a yarn update. I just finished the center 10 and I weighed my ball. So it originally was 200 grams and now I'm at around 52. They say the center point is just a couple rows after increasing for the body, according to the wiki page. So I think I am going to be able to finish the sweater with the amount of yarn I have left, but I don't think I'm going to be able to add the hood. It's just a debate of whether or not to do that. I did leave the neck stitches live, so that I had the option to add the hood. This is a big, ginormous piece of fabric, so I just finished doing the center 90. When I fold it all up, it looks like the cutest little beach jacket. Absolutely loving this yarn. It is so fun to knit with. I think that's one reason why I can't put this down, is every time I pull the strand out of the ball, it just changes color and I want to see what color comes next. I really love the look of garter stitch with this wool. I was thinking I really wanted to make another sweater with this wool. It's really easy to join the ends. I came across a knot in the wool and I was able to very easily spit splice it back together. I'm just about to start picking up the 90 stitches. I have never picked up a long garter stitch before, and nor have I ever really picked up stitches and made it look seamless. So wish me luck. We have just the waste yarn really helping us out. So we just go in, and we can even actually probably use this like a needle. So we came from here, so this is the bottom of the 90. We came, and then we picked up those stitches, and now we're going. And you know what? That looks pretty awesome. Well, I crushed some YouTube videos, and I finished my little sweater. I am so happy about it. It is just adorable. I have to say, I think everyone should knit one of these. So quick. The way it just works is ingenious. I still can't understand how she figured out how to design this pattern, and I'm absolutely in love with it. I did finish casting off, and this is how much yarn I have left. Originally I wanted to make a hood, but now I really don't think it's gonna be enough. Let me just excuse the flour on my scale. I got into sourdough baking during the COVID-19 pandemic. All right, so 13 grams. So it's 200 grams, 400 meters. So that would be about 26 meters. It's actually quite a bit. I might be able to make the hood. I'm gonna do the binding now, and then I'll make a decision. All right, so I'm all set up to seam up the stitches. I got my darning needle on my yarn. I got my YouTube video going so I can follow along. I have to say, I almost made a huge error. See, there's this edge is different than the garter stitch. It's actually got, it looks like a knit stitch, which I'm surprised about. Luckily, I caught that, and I was able to flip it. So my recommendation is to keep your stitch markers in there so that you actually know which side is the right side. All right, so I'm back. Decided to just wing it. So I did just rip off the bright green. It's such a rare color in this wool, and this darker color just blend in a lot better. So then you won't be able to see my mistakes. So there it is, and you know what? It ain't perfect, but it works. I think with the amount of wool I have left, I am just going to cast off these stitches. I don't think I have enough for a hood, and I don't want to buy another ball of wool for a tiny little hood. So just finished weaving in all the ends for my baby surprise jacket. Another benefit of this yarn is that since it's self-striping, so it changes colors, which really hides any imperfections, so it gives me some leeway, which I think is why you can't really tell the difference between inside out and right side. I'm just gonna get started with my favorite part, which is the magical part, which is blocking, where you get to shape your garment. I'm gonna fix a couple things. I'm gonna fix how the bottom pulls up a little bit, and I'm gonna make that level with the back. Otherwise, I'm just gonna make sure that it's even on both sides and that kind of the back doesn't creep forward onto the front. All right, let's get started. About a year, and I decided to get the buttons for my baby surprise jackets. I made my way to one of my favorite places in Vancouver to get buttons, Urban Yarns. I kind of just looked at all their buttons, and I thought purple would kind of be a pretty color. And the cool thing about these buttons is they almost have two sides. So they have like a flat side, which is a solid color with actually kind of like little white, and then I think this is their front side, which is what I've been calling the swirly side. I chose the swirly side as I think it kind of works with the like hippiness of the jacket. Kind of just lucked out with the color. I think the purple is a nice fit and something I wouldn't typically. I was actually aiming for brown, but by chance they were all sold out of all the brown wood buttons, so these were actually plan B, but I think they're plan A material. It's kind of funny how things like that, I always think about life is, you know, the direction you're not really planning on going can actually be the right one. So, and that happened with these buttons. So yeah, some deep buttons. And the one thing that's too bad is the holes on these buttons are quite small, so I can't use the actual thread. Typically I like to use the thread that I knitted the sweater in, and since this yarn is single ply, I can't even separate it to get a single ply. So I'm just gonna sew on the last two and I'll show you how I'm sewing those on. I start at the top and then I work my way down. So I'm just right here. Not all buttons are machine washable, so I purposely got some machine washable buttons. I can't believe that I've actually finished. I just can't believe it. And I think these buttons are just too cute. Look at that. Look how cute. My dog always gets excited when I start filming. She sleeps pretty much all day, but as soon as I sit in this chair, she knows something exciting is happening, so she likes to wander around and check it out.